Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you're watching, wherever you're watching, however you listen, where you listen. It's the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast. And we got the dynamic duo here today. Long time no see, my good buddy Ryan Dyrud. How are you doing?
My man, I'm good. How are you? I miss you. How is it down in Long Beach, my favorite city in California?
It's a lot of hard lessons. I got
Mm,
report cards and they weren't very good. I had to shut the weight room down. So they haven't been in the weight room for about a good 2-3 weeks now.
wow, okay. Doing the whole Coach Carter thing, right? Grades
Yeah.
before.
Yep.
Good
Grades
for you.
matter.
Closing the gym.
Yep. So the whole campus loves it or whatever. So we came up with a deal actually today. So we're gonna do progress reports on Monday, and if progress reports are good, then you get to come back in the weight room. If they are not good, then you go back to study hall. It's completely up to them.
That's like, I mean, are you using the Coach Carter script? That's perfect.
Nah, it just I didn't even think of it like that. It's just kind of like inner city school. Like if the parents don't care, I'll care for you.
Good
You
for you.
know, so that's how you have to do it. How are you doing, man? How have you been?
I'm good, man. Good. Yeah, never you'd think like the seasons, like the football season is over, like the NFL is now over too, so you think it slows down, but it never does in this business. So it's always busy and obviously we're doing all LA sports now. So but yeah, man, I've been good. Family's good. Can't complain. So life is good.
So are we officially LA fan base network now?
Yes, sir.
There we go.
We
There we
did it.
go.
We did our first LA Kings article this week. So we're officially into hockey now too.
If you ever get media passes for a Kings game, I am there.
Yeah. Kings games are great.
Hockey is by far the best pro sport that's live.
Oh yeah.
Like like there's no other, maybe professional fighting, but hockey is by far the best pro sport that's live. Like it's fast paced the whole time, like it's constantly going.
High
So
energy. Bro, are you
yep.
watching this? Are you watching this Four Nations tournament? The
Yeah, I
USA
watched
Canada
it on
tomorrow night?
Saturday, the 3 fights in 9 seconds. So I guarantee you no Canadian will boo the anthem this time.
Well, it's in Boston, so they won't really have the opportunity. But
There's probably some Canadians in Boston, but
yeah.
they won't make that mistake.
Oh, if they boo the anthem in Boston, there will be fights in the stands. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's definitely. I'm interested to see like will they still have that same intensity, or will Canadian like what I said Canadian will Canada like pick themselves up and win it. I just don't think Canada's good enough. They haven't been good enough for the last couple of matches. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the US has been a little bit better and we're a little
Yeah.
bit tougher. So
Yeah,
so much for universal health care.
yeah. Yeah, it'll be a good game. It's one of those like I mean USA is missing. Here we are. Look at us talking hockey on the Slits Roy podcast, but USA is missing like their top defender McAvoy is out, which is a big loss. In Canada, their top defender Cale Makar was out the first matchup. He'll be back, so it's kind of like a swap. Like one team losing their best. Them, but I just think the US is deeper. Like Canada's top line is so good. Like that's the best in the world. But after that top line, US is just way deeper. Like all four lines can roll. I mean, they were in that. I think in that game, or in one of the games, the Kachuk line, which everyone is, the Bash Brothers line. That's like their third
Mhm.
line. It's not even their like top line. So
Oh really?
yeah,
But the connect Canada's goalie is not that great. I think that's
no,
the
that
issue too.
USA has like the best goal in the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So
it's. I
that's
was
the
talking. Who was I talking with? Like one of my buddies is a big hockey fan, and obviously hockey's not as big around the world as soccer. But we were kind of joking because it's like this thing every year. It's like, oh, USA soccer is going to get better. Like we're going to get better on the world stage in soccer. And like every year the World Cup comes and we're like not better. Whereas hockey is like the opposite. Like 15 years ago, USA was not that good, and now they're like the best in the world. It's kind of crazy how it actually USA hockey actually has done it right, and it actually has improved.
I also have some irony for you. I don't know if this still stands true, but at one point with the junior hockey in America,
Hmm.
the top two teams were in LA and Arizona.
Yeah,
That makes no sense to me.
I mean the best American player is from Scottsdale, Arizona.
um,
Austin Matthews.
yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah, he's from
sense. Yeah,
Scottsdale. So
yeah,
it's great. I mean, hockey's it's definitely growing. I mean, you're a Kings fan. Like LA
yeah.
hockey's not like huge in LA, but the Kings fan base is like diehard. Like the
It's
Kings are a
really
great fan
Kings.
base.
They sell out the Staples Center or the crypto. I don't want people to get upset at me in the comments. The crypto
Yeah.
aka Staples Center. They sell it out at their games. Like I've been to multiple games and like, oh, they're filling this thing up. Like,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, this is great.
I mean, they're not the Lakers or the Dodgers, but they're right after. I mean, to me, it's Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers, USC football, and Kings hockey. Those are like the main four, and then after that, it's all the rest fill in.
The rest of them. Well, the other, the other four don't matter.
Yeah, I know you. I know. Yeah, whatever you say.
The other four don't matter, so we'll move it there. Let's jump into football, man.
Yeah.
There's a trend. The storms are brewing, and I've been talking about this. We've been doing this probably 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been talking about this for 2 years. Like, it might sound crazy, but I'm like, eventually, a school is going to jump, and when the right school jumps, college football would no longer be a part of the NCAA. I should say Division I college football would no longer be a part of the NCAA. And you heard my gripes multiple times, all the time, like Mark Emmert and everything. When they make rules, they don't do anything about it. We knew about the SEC cheating, and they didn't do anything about the SEC cheating and all those things. Matt Rule is starting to trend, and
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule came out 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago or so, said, "I'm not doing the spring game. Like, this is the Wild West," and I'm paraphrasing, but this is the Wild West, and I'm not going to have people watch my spring game on TV and then tamper and try to take my players. I'm
Yep.
not doing that. Right. A couple of days after that, Ryan Day said, "I 100% agree with you. I'm canceling my spring game today." And how this relates, big news: Lincoln Riley, which is the most. I'm I'm a die on this hill, and people don't have to believe me, and they can argue with me about it. I'm a die on this hill. I believe SC is the most tampered with school out of all schools. Like, maybe because we're so in depth in it, we see it firsthand. But I feel like people are always just, why is he leaving? Pregnon's a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
At the midnight hour, he ends up in Oregon. Like, those are things like I just feel like they're tampered. We are the most tampered with school out of every school. I could be wrong. My opinion. Let me have it.
Hey, hate
But
us if you ain't us, right?
yeah, SC is not having the spring game. Ryan, this implication is it's bigger than people think. This is starting to affect money now, and when I say it's starting to affect money now, these schools have TV contracts to show their spring games on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They're now saying we're not showing our spring game on TV. And two of them are coming from the same network with one of the biggest. Oh, all three of them are coming out of the same conference with the biggest TV deal in college football. CBS and NBC or Big Ten Network, whoever is supposed to show these spring games, are scrambling. I think it's at the point now, and it's you could kind of see who has the money, right? And you would know this more than me, but there has to be some type of fine for these guys not holding their media obligation for not having a spring game. But I feel like the fine is more of a drop in the bucket than to keep the structure of their roster and everything they worked on in spring and not have anybody like, oh, I like that kid. Let me slide in his inbox. Portal's not open. I'm already going to offer him $18 million. Here we go. Once the portal opens, jump in the portal. These three schools are preventing that. And this is a very good move by Lincoln Riley. I don't disagree with what's going on at all. And I would not be surprised if this list grows over the next couple of weeks into the 20s and 30s. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, no, well said. I agree. It's a bummer for fans, obviously. Like, if this is the first time fans can see the team, because obviously practices are closed. So it's a bummer for that, and it's a fun day at the Collie to hang out. But in terms of just roster construction, building the program, it's the right decision. Absolutely, everything you said. I don't need to repeat too much, but yeah, I mean, it's essentially, for those that aren't like thinking this way, it's essentially a free film session for the other 300 schools around the country to say, oh, look at that freshman that's not going to play at USC, but he's playing in the spring game. And like last year, for example, Marcellus Williams, right? This great recruit out of Bosco, true freshman last year, has an interception in the spring game, looks great. There's a lot of hype. We're all in the media asking, like, he's going to get some reps as a true freshman. Really showed out in the spring game, made a name for himself. The team knew, like, okay, this is a freshman. We're going to bring him up slowly. We have some of these older guys are going to play above him. Teams are going to see that and be like, oh, we're going to go and try to get this Marcellus kid. Like, hey, you come here right now. You'll start for us day one, and we'll pay you this. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely, I think, a smart move to get rid of that. Just having that. I mean, college football is kind of the last sport, if you will, that you can in some ways hide players in a way. Now with NIL, obviously, it's different because agents can reach out elsewhere and be like, hey, my guy's not getting playing time. What would you pay for him to come play? But you can hide kind of the tape and the film without getting guys out there. So I think getting rid of the spring game is, it's unfortunate for fans, but it's smart by Lincoln Riley and the staff to do this. And, it's a glorified fan fest essentially. Like, it doesn't really do a whole lot for the program when they can do that all on their own anyway without fans there.
Hey, what's going on, family? Got to quickly tell you about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy, new sponsor and friend of the show. One of the most fun games out there, fantasy games you can do in the industry today. Super easy to do. Go to the App Store or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Download today. Use our promo code LAFB, or you can just click the link in the description wherever you are watching. That promo code is going to give the new user that you have just become a free pick, one free pick, and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's free money. Up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Why would you not want to do that for a simple deposit? Just make sure to use that promo code LAFB or click the link below. The game is super easy. It's super fun. Pick 2 to 8 players in a game. Go ahead and go with the higher or lower, whether they're going to have more passing yards, touchdowns, receiving yards, rushing yards, any of that. It's a lot of fun, and just choose higher or lower. That's easy with the opportunity to win. So go to Underdog Fantasy today. Promo code LAFB gets you a free entry and up to $1,000 bonus cash.
Something has to be done, right? And it's going to get to the point to where it's like, okay, we're losing money. You know what I mean? Like, we paid you all this money to play this spring game or show this spring game, and you're not showing the spring game. We're losing money. The school could say, you know what I mean? Maybe UCLA can't do it, or like, I can't even think of anybody in the bottom of the Big Ten that really can't do it. That doesn't have, only UCLA is probably the only ones that can't do it. It was just like, you know what I mean? Like, and Purdue's actually pretty well funded. They're a big time engineering school.
Yeah, that's true. I was trying to think too. I'm like, Northwestern. No, that's a pretty well funded school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not being rivalry to UCLA. The rivalry hate. We just know the financial situation.
Yeah, we know
UCLA
their deficit.
Yeah. And I think UCLA is the only one that can't do it right now. But I think ideally, if the whole Big Ten wanted to say, like, all right, NBC, all right, CBS, Big Ten Network, good luck. You're not getting any spring games. We'll pay the fine. They're like, they could all afford to do it, and it's worth doing it because I don't know what's more egregious. I don't know if it's more of the blatant tampering and nothing's being done about it, and like the NCAA is just turning their heads to it, and they just honestly don't care, and they're just trying to keep schools happy so they don't leave, or if there's no rules or no cap to this NIL transferring thing. Like, this is legit the MLB. Like, there's no salary cap. There's nothing being done. And that's another thing where it's just like, you have to do something about it. Like, you just cannot turn a blind eye to it. Like, at the end of the day, you even out the playing field. And we found out that the SEC is not that good now that everybody gets paid. Like, I've been telling people that for a very long time. Nobody believed me. Everybody thought I was crazy. Hey, here you go. Here's the product. The Big Ten has won the last 2 national championships, right? And maybe making the move, taking those 4 schools from the Pac-12 was very good because they knew the potential, right? Even though UCLA basketball is not doing very well, I thought they would do a lot better, but that's neither here nor there. But like, there has to be something done. And Ryan, I'm still going to die on this hill. I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill with pride. I feel like we're getting closer and closer and closer to that one school saying, guys, let's do it. It's time to end it. Like, we need something with structure. We need something that's going to make this an honest game. You know what I mean? I'm a go on a tangent. I kind of have no respect for Dan Lanning, and I don't know if Lincoln Riley is doing this, but I just know that Dan Lanning, it's tampering. He's blatantly tampering, and that's just old SEC ways of cheating and doing things wrong and trying to win because he was raised wrong. But like, you legit tampered one of our best offensive linemen, and the portal was like pretty much closed. There's no way you could legit say you did this the right way. You can't lay
And
down.
he wasn't in the portal.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't in the portal either. So you're not even allowed to contact him. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens when you eat well done steak. Like you do things that are that are lack integrity. But
Mess
at
with
the end
your
of
mind, yeah.
but at the end of the day, like back to what I was saying, though, like the one school is going to do it, and the rest of the schools are gonna jump in, right? The only thing about it is funding. Not everybody could do it, right? Northwestern technically can't do it, right? UCLA right now can't do it. Like there's schools that can't do it. And I think that's what's holding it up. But like Ryan, I'm dying on this hill. I think it's closer than I think we will see it. I think we will see it before we leave this earth, and it won't be a surprise to me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like I definitely think we will see it before we leave this earth, and it won't be a surprise to me. And the NCAA, it will be a surprise to them. They'll act like they never knew it was coming. And I don't understand how you not know that it's not coming. Like it's been on the wall for multiple years. What do you have on that? Like,
well, I'll go even a step further. Like, I mean, hopefully we're on this earth, coach, for quite some time still.
Yeah.
How old's your oldest? Bo? He's 10?
No, Colton is 11.
Colton's 11, excuse me. Bo, Bo's the young, the middle one.
Bo is 2, yeah.
Yeah. Colton, I will say something big shift will happen before Colton's in college. So that's in the next decade. And I see kind of two paths. Now this can change obviously, but the way I see it is either, which it's trending this way, is you end up having two mega conferences, whatever you want to call them, the Big and the SEC, but everyone's going to merge into like two, East, West, North, South, whatever. And you have the two mega conferences that it's still the platform of the conference. Obviously, they got to restructure things. Or football, the top football schools are basically going to separate from even their own other collegiate sports. So let's say SC basketball, baseball 5-0, by the way, off to a hot start.
Nice. Didn't know that.
Yeah, they're killing it. Women's basketball,
LAFB.
all that is still the Big Ten, right? So all the other sports stay in the Big Ten. Football becomes its own entity, if you will, and it becomes like an NFL 40-team league with just the best football schools. And it's their own entity. They just play within those 40. You're not scheduling anymore like cupcake games. You play it like an NFL league. I'm not saying I want this, but I could just see this actually happening. You have a collective bargaining agreement. You end up having some kind of salary cap. I mean, it's essentially a professional league similar to the NFL, but it's like the step below preparing for the NFL and whatnot. So those are the two kind of paths I see, is either two super conferences that the format's still similar, but you just have two conferences versus 5, or just a literally college football league that is just within 30 to 40 teams and platform just like the NFL. You have 16 teams make the playoffs at the end of the year and go on and have a national championship, but it's not based on conference or strength of schedule or whatever. It's purely just based on your record out of the 10, 12 game season you play at the end of the year.
So when I was at okay, there it is. That just answered my question. I was looking it up while you were talking. I was looking up while you were talking. Men's volleyball is not an NCAA sport. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It is the MPSF.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah,
all of collegiate men's volleyball?
All of collegiate men's volleyball is the MPSF. And it was like that when I was there because I had a class with a volleyball player, and he was the one that told me, like, no, like it's not. We're not an NCAA sport. We still have to follow the NCAA rules, but we're not an NCAA sport. So you still have to be eligible and everything. You still have to go to the clearinghouse in order to get all this stuff. And the NCAA somehow put their hand in there some way to make it happen. But men's volleyball is not NCAA. You don't win an NCAA national championship. You win the MPSF national championship. There's still all the same conferences and everything. Crew used to be that way too. But I just looked at Crew, and Crew was Crew's now. Yeah, I could be wrong. Hold on, let me look one more time because it was just the Big Ten championship.
Interesting. So I mean, that's what football could do basically, is stay within the NCAA, but also be its own entity.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. The NCAA will try to put their hand in there somehow. They're greedy. You know what I mean? But I will say this: the TV deals will be absurd.
Yeah.
absurd. Like, you don't have to pay the NCAA, and it just goes straight to the school or goes straight to the conference. It'll be some absurd TV deals.
Well,
The
and
question,
the fact that you can go straight, like you said, to the school and conference, but then like think of that week in October when it was like Penn State, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, like whatever the matchups were. That'd be every week. You'd never have these Alabama, Western Kentucky games. Like it always would be a premier matchup every single week between every team because it'd be like the NFL.
well, I don't think so, and I think that's what's holding it up. I think what's holding it up is the SEC still wants those games.
No, of course.
They still believe that they're the strongest conference. They still believe that they're the best, and their schedule is tougher than everybody else's, and this and that. In basketball, right now, 100% true. In baseball, they'll always be the best baseball conference because all of our kids out of high school get drafted to the pro. Right? Florida, Arizona, California, Texas. If you're good in baseball in high school, you get drafted to the pros. Well, Texas is an SEC school now, but like, but like the Carolina regions and all those regions, like that particular region right there, all those kids don't get drafted. They're not good enough, so they go to college, and they're very good college kids, and they do get drafted out of college, and some of them do go on. But like, if we hear about the top prospect in California, one, we know he's going to the MLB. Like, we know he's talking draft. Like, it's only getting the money. So like, I think it's going to take some time for the SEC to be like, yeah, we're not that good, but we're still competitive. We might as well join, and we might as well start making a tougher schedule, right? So, perfect example, playing Texas, Alabama playing Texas at Texas. The first time they played at Texas, played a road non-conference game in like almost 15, 20 years, they lose. Like, there's certain things like they're hiding behind, and we're going to get to a point where they can't hide behind it anymore, especially with this new playoff, and especially once they expand it to 16, right? They're going to 16 in 2 years or whatever.
I don't know if there's anything official. Everyone's saying it'll happen, but I don't know if anything's official yet.
Yeah,
maybe.
But we could talk about that one day as well too, because I figured out what's the difference between 1AA and Division 1. And the reason why it works in 1AA, there's no conference championships.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The whole goal is to make the NCAA realize that they made a mistake and that there's a lot of cheating out there, and the football game is really tainted right now. And you need to find a way to fix it, because now the networks are going to get upset with you, because all the networks wants the bowl game and the national championships and those type of things. And they're not going to give it to you if your product is not great. Right?
Yeah.
So unless you're NBC and you make the mistake and spend billions of dollars on the NBA with low ratings. So, that's a different thing. You got anything else on there, Ryan?
Well, I think it also shows in an extent that the NCAA is just losing power every day. And, 20 years ago, right, they put these sanctions on USC for Reggie Bush, and it like kills USC for a decade plus, essentially. And not saying they can't still do like sanctions and whatnot, and there's still some parameters, but overall, I mean, with this NIL era, I don't even think they know what all the rules are. And this whole spring game thing that these three schools and now USC has done is also just showing that the schools are taking the power back and basically like, we're going to do what we want. Like, the NCAA has no real power. Like, NIL runs this now. It's the Wild West. No one really knows what's going on. So we're going to do what's best for our program. And the fact that even all these coaches are talking about, like, some of these rivalry games might die because we're just trying to get to the playoff. Like, at the end of the day, we need to make a schedule against the playoff. And so they're doing what's best for their program and basically showing that the NCAA is just losing power by the day, which in reality is a good thing. I do believe there does need to be some governing body still like controlling things, but the NCAA has just been doing it so terribly for so long that this is a good wake-up call that whether it's a new league, a new foundation, a new governing body, whether the schools or whatever it may be, something's got to change. And the old way of doing it didn't work then, and it's clearly not working now.
It's better to take criticism and think about it and come up with a good idea than to make a knee-jerk reaction and make a bigger mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they
Yep.
made a knee-jerk reaction and made a very big mess. The best way I could say it is our government out here makes a lot of, in California where we are, they make a lot of knee-jerk reactions and don't realize the consequences. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, we should fix that. How do we fix it now? It's going to cost more money. Like, you guys didn't think about this. You guys just wanted to change, made the change. And now the change is here, but you weren't prepared for the change. So sometimes it's better, like, we need to do something about it. I think at the point when it happened, it was California, Florida, Texas. And I think the SEC schools were worried because their governors, their government wasn't passing for their payers to get paid. And they were just like, fine, everybody gets NIL now. I think they should just be like, let this fly and let's see what happens and let's see what mistakes they make. And then we'll make corrections off of their mistakes. And then we'll come out with some type of governing, which might take 2 or 3 years. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. But when it happens, everybody's ready to go and you will have legit rules in place and it won't be like this right now. You know, the one thing I don't understand is how they just turning their head away from the tampering thing. And the tampering is legit illegal it's legit illegal. And the only thing about tampering is you can't prove it. Right? Like, let's use Pregnon again, for example. Pregnon's not going to turn his phone over. You know what I mean? Or Dan Landy's not going to turn his phone over, so you can't prove it. But, like, come on, dude. We know. You weren't in the portal. It was 11:59. You entered the portal, and you signed an NIL to Oregon. Come on, dude.
Well, and the way they're hiding it is that by rule, which they're not enforcing, but by rule, tampering is if a school or a school official reaches out to a player with another school. So the way that they're framing it basically is like, I'm just using as an example, Dan Lanning hits up an agent and says, hey, we'll give Pregnon this, go tell him. And then the agent's the one that actually reaches out to Pregnon, and then and it goes that way. So technically the school official never actually contacted the player until they were in the portal.
Yeah. There's something that needs, it is tampering, but there's something to be done. There's something that needs to be done though, because it is a lack of integrity. I still think it's a lack of integrity. Like, that's a lack of integrity. Like,
I mean,
as coach,
the NFL, if you're an agent in the NFL and you tamper, you could be disbarred and not be an agent anymore. If you're doing it with a fat fine if you're the team. Days, yeah. And teams can lose draft picks. Like, it's a serious thing. So that's crazy.
No, I'm with you. They need to do something about it. I don't know what they're going to do about it. I don't even think they know. I legit think that the NCAA is just an empty building somewhere, and they just hire an actor to show up when
like
they
the Pac-12 building in San Francisco now.
Yeah, apparently it's still there, and they're still using it.
Like the Pac-12 still using it? What? All 4 of them are just like in this giant, beautiful building downtown.
Well, it's more than 4 now.
Yeah, now it's like 6. I'm kidding. I know they're ready. I know they're back in a way.
No, I think it is only like 6. And then Nevada, UNLV and Reno is very upset, by the way, because they thought they were going to get the invite, and they invited somebody across the country and not them. They thought the invite was coming, and they didn't come.
UNLV, you said, or Nevada?
Yeah, UNLV, both of them. They thought the invite was coming. When the first invites came, refresh my memory. Was it like San Diego State and like the top Mountain West schools, right?
I'm trying to remember. I know it's Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego State. Is Fresno one of them too?
I don't think Fresno is one of them, but
San Jose. Now I can't remember who all it is.
But the Nevada schools thought they were next, and and they didn't get it, and they're like,
all right, so it's Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and then Utah State, Oregon State, Washington State, and then Gonzaga.
For who else?
But football.
You know who else is in it too? You know who they invited? That's who it was. They invited NIU.
Northern Illinois? Or Northern Iowa?
Northern Illinois.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So that won't be good to watch for the next couple of years.
I mean, we're off topic now and we can just wrap up here, but I don't understand why they wouldn't just talk to the Mountain West and say, hey, we have more staying powers of Pac-12. Like, just every Mountain West team become Pac-12 and join Washington State, Oregon State, plus the Mountain West. Like, now the Mountain West is like adding like Sun Belt schools or whatever. Like, it's just the whole thing's just so weird.
So in conclusion,
pride, man, it's all pride. Like, who cares?
But this is just the blow up from the NCAA, though. Like, and people need more money for NIL to pay their players. You know what I mean? Well, NIL isn't players. They actually need that money for that lawsuit that's coming out, which I'm really upset that we weren't involved in it. They cut it off at like such a short time. Like, what about the people? Like, how do I not get any money off that? But
yeah,
it's just all the fact that there's no control in the NCAA right now. We need to control the NCAA. That's my conclusion, and they need to figure it out before the NCAA is gone for football.
It's gonna be gone.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely. Ryan, we put a good one together today, buddy. I appreciate you. You know how we do. Until next time, keep working, bro. Ryan, just in case you guys didn't know, Ryan Dyrute is pumping out articles from all over. Like he said, hockey. He threw a baseball one out. Did you throw Angels out? And I was going to text you. You didn't put an Angels one out, did you?
We've done like 1 or 2 Angels ones.
Stop doing that.
We did like 5 Dodgers ones today. So it's all
yes. Angels are not in LA.
Yeah.
They're not even in LA County. They're just borrowing the name.
It's still weird to me that they go by LA. It's still weird to me.
Yeah, so definitely. Good deal, Ryan, man. Until next time, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, friends. Thanks you guys for joining. You guys know how it goes. Live free. Fight on.